Last semester I had a class, it was Media 120, and in my lab we had an international speaker. He had a very strong accent, as well as had trouble understanding some of the slang that we used in everyday conversation. I'd say a positive learning experience. He was a very smart kid and wanted to be heavily involved with our project, and wanted to do as much as he could, and so it was interesting to learn how he operated as far as what he wanted to do for our project and what programming anyway he was going to use. So I went to the University of Minnesota, and it was a very large university with over 50,000 undergrads, many of which came from other countries. My freshman year we had at least 4 or 5 international students that were on my floor that we all got to know. So we were real integrated as far as the people we met. And Minneapolis is a very liberal city, very large city, very culturally diverse. So there was never any real, intimidation or separation, between local students and international students. And it really opened your eyes to, what was out there and who you could be working with, who you'd be working with in class or at a job. And it was a great way to meet new people and learn about other things. It fostered that interaction and allowed it to grow, so that kind of broke down that stereotype or stigma of, what we see right now is the separation between local students and international students. You usually see a bunch of them in a group, and you don't want to go up and introduce yourself and start asking them about their life, or where they're from or what their interests are, when it's a large group of people. And just being comfortable, approaching somebody and saying what's an appropriate way to learn about somebody without offending them, or making it an awkward situation for them or for you. To kind of get to know somebody from a different culture. Anyway, the two organizations put on a barbecue in Phelps Grove Park to kind of break down those stereotypes and that stigma of religion and homosexuality. So and it was a good way for students to go and meet and socialize. There wasn't any talk of politics or debating anything. So it was just a good way to meet and interact with another student organization on campus. That's the goal of that meeting or that event, is to interact and meet and learn. And I think that could be a really positive way to interact with international students on a more personal and social level. I think that if you want to lead in a global society, you have to be aware and understand those global cultures, because you're not always going to be working with the same type of person, and you might not always know the ethnicity or the religion of somebody else that you're working with. And just to be conscious of those things when you're working with a small group or a team, and understanding the needs of someone who is from a different background or from another country, so that you can work not primarily on the task itself, but use those skills as a group to complete a task and make it stronger, make it more successful, versus one person doing one thing and another person doing another thing, and not challenging yourself to cross those barriers, to work together to make a more well-rounded project. I really would like to see more of an effort to integrate international students and local students. I definitely think if there was a program in place, that it would be something I would love to be a part of, and that it is a great way for students, from Missouri, which is in the middle of the country. A lot of students, haven't studied abroad or are used to a certain way or a certain lifestyle. And I really think that that would open up some people's eyes and get them to understand other people, and that it would make the student body of Missouri State more whole and more active as a student.